Hello everyone and welcome to episode 39 of my Guild Wars 2 series. I have been experimenting with my audio a little bit more and hopefully it's better, but I'm still learning more things about recording audio, and then I've also been practicing a little bit with recording video and stuff as well, so hopefully everything is fine as well. But today we are continuing our adventures with our series of 3 episodes here where we are exploring different stories and then 3 more professions to basically set ourselves up to know a lot of things going into Act 2 of the Guild Wars 2 personal story. Our last episode we explored more of the Char Society and we explored the warrior, and today we are going to be making another character. So we have 2 more characters left to go, and today I am going to go ahead and make an Asura, which conveniently it put us right there at the start, and then I'll go ahead and explore the female voice actor because we made a male Asura when we played an engineer. And then we have Revenant here, which I haven't really talked about yet, but this profession was introduced after the launch of Guild Wars 2, and it was introduced in the Heart of Thorns expansion, and I am going to be exploring this profession when we get to Heart of Thorns, and we are just looking at the 8 core professions that were introduced at the start of the game in 2012, which we have 2 left to look at, and that is Elementalist and that is Mesmer. And today, with our Asura, I think I'm going to go ahead and look at the Elementalist, which is a very complex profession that favors ranged elemental magic and is a versatile caster. So let's go ahead and go into just creating our Asura really quickly, and I'll go ahead and make a pretty basic, simple one. So with an Elementalist, we can pick one of 4 different headpieces here, which I don't think are going to show because of the hairstyle I picked for this Asuran character. But basically, we can choose water, fire, earth, or air, which are the 4 main elements that the elementalists use in their magic casting. And then there's a little bit more which we'll explore, but I'm going to go ahead and just pick, I think, fire, maybe let's go with water or earth, I think, because I always go fire with this. So I think I'm going to go with earth. Earth is the foundation that supports all life. Stone fortifies us, rock grounds us, and then I'll go ahead and just pick charm here, I guess, and then I'll go ahead and pick, so we picked synergetics when we were here on our previous character, and I think I'll go ahead and just go with statics. And then this is the big choice that I want to look at, because we explored the trans-atmospheric converter on our previous character, but there is a really fun storyline here that I want to explore with the Infinity Ball, where they said it was a toy, a pipe dream, and a waste of resources. They were wrong. My invention predicts the future, so what if it doesn't predict it correctly every time? That's irrelevant. Could it give me an advantage? Reply hazy, ask again. So let's go ahead and pick the Infinity Ball option. Then I'll go ahead and pick Zynga here because she is a fellow magic user, and then we can create a character, and then I'll go ahead and get a little bit of the way into the game. And then really quickly, I think I'll name this character Magitech Athos. So one of the great things about Guild Wars 2 is how many different ways you can level in the game, and honestly there is like a ton of stuff that will give you experience. You can do any of the 3 major game modes, which are PvE, PvP, and World vs. World, which will all give you like a ton of experience and will help you get to level 80. Doing World vs. World before you're level 80 might be a little bit of a rough time for most people, but PvP is basically balanced for everyone. It's mostly just like a skill game. And then PvE, of course, you have the natural like leveling cycle of going up from level 1 to level 80, but it's really interesting how much stuff there is to do in PvE, and basically anything you do will give you experience. You can kill mobs, you can complete map objectives, you can do events, you can craft, you can basically gather materials, you could do jumping puzzles, you could do basically anything, and it will give you experience. But of course different ways will give you more experience than others, so a lot of people will basically try to like get to level 80 as fast as possible. And in just a moment I'm going to be talking about one of those specific ways that a lot of experienced players reach level 80, but for a lot of newer people, basically like the general best way to get to level 80 for like most people is just to do map completion and to basically do events. And then if you're trying to do it fast, of course you do it faster, and then basically you kind of learn which events and which tasks take a long time and take a not a long time. And then with the introduction of the character adventure guide, you can get a ton of experience this way. As we've seen with all of our characters, we get a ton of experience. and then basically just doing everything and running around and tagging events and doing quick tasks and getting quick map completion objectives, especially hero points, because you need them when you reach level 80, so it's kind of nice to do that along the way. You will just get a bunch of experience and level up to level 80. I think like the average time it takes for like basic casual run through of like level 1 to 80 where you're not really doing a whole lot of advanced stuff is like 40 hours, I think. And of course that goes faster once you start incorporating more advanced things. And then I don't really speedrun leveling to level 80 except for the thing that I'm going to talk about in just a moment. So I'm like pretty casual going through it, and I don't know a ton of like the advanced stuff that you can do. There's like optimal routes to do like map completion, where I think the road record for like completing the entire core road is like 8 hours, which is insane, and I think you will definitely reach level 80 in that time. Beyond that, I'm just going to be doing a little bit more about what I just said, where I'll do some more tasks, do more events and stuff like that, and I'll get a little bit more experience. So I am now level 10, and I want to go over the thing that I was talking about earlier, about how a lot of people who have been playing this game for a long time level up their characters to level 80. So we're going to head into Red Assume, and we're going to head to my bank because we have some very important items in our bank that are going to help us level up a little bit here to get closer to level 20, because I really want to do the chapter 2 story missions here in this video. But if you come into our inventory here, at the start of this episode when I logged in, I got a daily login reward for 2 tomes of knowledge, which if anybody remembers, we can basically use one of these items and it will give us 1 level. So we are currently level 10, so we can use it and get up to level 11. So we currently have 2 in our inventory, and then we have 10 in our bank. So I'll go ahead and come into our mess of a bank right here and pull these 10 out, and then I can stack them here together, and then we can go ahead and use some of them. So I'll go ahead and let's use 6 right now. So we're now level 11, we're now level 12, we're now level 13, level 14, level 15, level 16, easy, just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and put these 6 tomes of knowledge into my shared inventory slot here, so I can pull it out on any character I want without having to go to a bank, and I can just use it on like our next character that we make, so we can get some levels on that character. And then I have a second shared inventory slot here which has 2 level 80 boosts, which would send us instantly to level 80, and this is because I bought expansions on this account. And then we will have our shared inventory slot here that these 2 boosts are using once we use them up, but I'm going to save that for a long time from now, and we'll use them on 2 characters that I decide I want to use them on to showcase something on level 80. But we are now at level 16 on our Asuran character, and basically tomes of knowledge are a very good way to level up because it gives you 1 level, and you get them in a variety of different ways. You get a bunch from just logging in every day, so in a month we'll get 1, 3, 6, 10 tomes of knowledge, that's 10 levels, and then we could select 6 more, 16 levels a month if we wanted to, though generally it's not recommended to get the tomes of knowledge from the chest of loyalty because you get so many tomes of knowledge and then leveling up is pretty easy as it is. But when you have been playing this game for a long time, you get a ton of tomes of knowledge because you log in a bunch, and then you basically accumulate them throughout the months, and then you get them from a few other sources in the open world, like from completing dailies you can get some tomes of knowledge as well, and then doing world versus world and PvP will flood you with tomes of knowledge. So people who have played for a very long time will have a ton of tomes of knowledge. And basically on my main account I have like almost 2,000 right now, which 2,000 divided by 80 is more characters than I'm probably ever going to level up to level 80 on that account. But you can actually convert them into a currency, which we'll talk about once we reach level 80 and we kind of unlock that currency. So it's not like completely useless, but I have a ton of tomes of knowledge, and so does everyone else. And then a lot of people also have some special level up scrolls that you can level up to level 20, 30, 40, 50, or 60 that you unlock from character birthdays, which people have been playing for years and years and years, like myself who's been playing for almost 11 years now, have a ton of those. So kind of just leveling up a brand new character on an experienced on an old account is basically just a matter of like 5 minutes to get from level 1 to level 80. Whereas like newer people kind of have to spend more time, and that's nice for more experienced people to get up to level 80 if they want to. And then of course the option is still there to be able to like level naturally, just don't use the tomes of knowledge. But it's nice being on a fresh account like this right now, where I'm basically kind of forced to level up naturally because we only have 6 more tomes of knowledge, and across all of our characters, like on this one specifically, I guess I would only be able to get to level 22. But one of the annoying things about leveling up all the way to level 80 using Tomes of Knowledge and level up scrolls is you have to click through all of your level up rewards, which for us right now we only have 6, so it's not too bad. But imagine clicking through like 79 of these. It's a little painful, and a lot of people kind of want this change. And a lot of people are completely okay to just skip getting any of the rewards just to not have to click through it. But for me, it doesn't bother me too much, but I would definitely prefer it to be changed. But now that we have leveled up a bunch, I want to go ahead and start exploring the Elementalist profession. So if we come into our hero panel here, we can look at the different weapons, and it looks very complicated already as an Elementalist, but there aren't too many weapons we can use. Elementalists are like one of the 2 professions, the other one being engineer, where you can't use a ton of weapons. However, the Elementalist has a very fun mechanic where basically with each weapon that you basically have 4 different sets of weapons, because we have 4 different attunements down here: fire, water, air, and earth, like we talked about earlier. And basically with any of the weapons we can have, and in combat we can only have 1 weapon at a time, just like the engineer. We can't weapon swap to another weapon, but we can change our attunements. So basically, where most people would have like 10 weapon skills where they would have 5 and then they could weapon swap and have 5 more, we have 20 weapon skills here. And then if you see this right here, this is for one of the elite specializations, the Weaver, which we are not going to care about at all right now. We will explore that in the future when we get to that. But for the most part, we are just going to be looking at like the top 4 lines of these weapons. In this episode, I'm only going to look at one of the weapons, and the weapon that I'm going to look at is the staff. So I'm going to go ahead and buy one right there so we can start looking at that. And then we'll basically just explore all the different weapon skills that we have here just to get a basic understanding of it all, and then we might explore more in the future when we come back to this character. But let's go ahead and equip the staff and go find something to fight. So with our 4 attunements, we basically have each one kind of feels like a different job, and 2 of them are offensive and 2 of them are defensive. So let's go ahead and start with fire attunement, which is an offensive attunement, where basically we are going to be able to deal a ton of damage here with our different abilities, and it's more like sustained damage in a way. So let's go ahead and look at Fireball here, where we can cast a fireball that explodes on impact and hits multiple foes. And I think the staff weapon is probably one of the most popular weapons out of all the Elementalist ones, and we're going to see with a lot of these skills here, they're very iconic and they're also very good, which both of those together basically makes the staff the most popular weapon for the Elementalist. And of course that changes a little bit depending on like what you enjoy, but I think most people will typically run a staff when they start off in the game because it's fun starting off. But Fireball, pretty basic, deals damage, applies burning. Then we have Lava Font to make lava erupt from the target area, so we can just put this down on the ground and it deals a ton of damage to the script, and then we can follow it up with our Fireball here. And we see with all our abilities here, we apply fire to our enemies, so it's nice condition damage, but it's also nice power damage as well. Our next one here is Flame Burst, burn foes at the target location, so we can target this one, and it basically just does a big AoE of fire damage around that script that we hit there. And then here we have Burning Retreat, quickly roll backward, leaving behind a line of fire that burns. So we kind of want to put our back towards the script here and then run through the script with that ability, and it'll put down a line of fire right there, which like allies can actually shoot like arrows through it, for example, and it'll light the arrows on fire, but it'll also deal damage to the enemies that run through it as well. And then lastly here we have Meteor Shower, call down a meteor shower onto the target area. So let's go ahead and select the target area here, and it actually has a cast time, so we have to let it fully cast, and then once it's done it will just keep going. And this is a very fun ability, and it was very fun in Guild Wars 1 too. The Elementalist had an ability like this and it was super fun, and it is super fun in Guild Wars 2 as well, and it deals a ton of damage. But that is basically the fire attunement for staff. So let's go ahead and switch over to water attunement, which is a defensive attunement, and it basically focuses a lot on healing. As you can see, one of our abilities here is Healing Rain. So our auto attack is spray a jet of water at your foe that splashes it to heal nearby allies. So it doesn't deal a ton of damage. You see we're doing a lot less damage compared to our fireball, but it still deals a little bit, and also heal any allies that are around the script as well. Our second ability here is Ice Spike. Drop a giant ice spike on foes to make them vulnerable. So this is kind of like a supportive ability where we can apply vulnerability to the enemies so that our allies can deal more damage to the enemy, but it also deals a very good amount of damage as well. So we can put it down like this group of squid right here, and they'll all take a bunch of damage. We then have this third ability here, Geyser. Create a geyser to heal nearby allies, and this is a healing ability. It doesn't do any damage at all, and you can put it down on the ground and it'll just pulse some healing for 4 seconds. It will do 4 pulses of 240 healing. I believe that's how it works, or it's 60 healing per pulse up to 240, one of the two. I think it might be the latter there. But our fourth skill here is Frozen Ground. Coat the target area in ice, chilling foes that enter it. Grant Frost Aura to allies in the area. So let's go ahead and chill all these squid here, and then since they can't move out of the ice spike, we can go ahead and put it down on them and deal a lot of damage to them. But Frost Aura here is like another defensive thing where it will give minus 10% incoming damage to our allies. So it basically kind of like helps tank them up a little bit and allow them to basically like take more damage because they're taking less damage, so their health goes down a little bit less. And then lastly here we have our fifth ability, Healing Rain. Call down a healing rain on the target area, granting regeneration to allies in curing conditions once every 3 seconds. Allies are healed for each condition removed. So just like Geyser, this is a fully supportive ability which will basically just heal us, and it will remove conditions from us, and it will also grant us regeneration. And it's like a big AoE, so it'll hit a lot of allies, and it's very, very nice to have. But let's go ahead and defeat this one script, and then we can go ahead and switch over to Air Attunement, which is the other offensive attunement that we have. Where Fire was kind of more like sustained damage, Air Attunement is like supposed to kind of be more like bursty damage. And basically how it works with like the staff is it's kind of sustained damage, and it's also some utility, where Air is also an attunement that has some more crowd control stuff in it compared to Fire, which is more just kind of like sustained damage like I said. But our auto attack here is Chain Lightning. Hit multiple foes with arcs of lightning, which is basically just a basic auto attack, but it'll bounce up to 3 enemies, so it'll hit 4 enemies I think. And then our second ability here is Create a lightning surge that damages and blinds foes near your target when it discharges. So let's go ahead and throw it onto our Script Forger there. There's a little bit of a cast time, but it deals a nice amount of damage. Our third one here is Gust. Push foes backwards with a burst of air. So this is like a very basic kind of like knockback here that we can go ahead and use it, and it sends them super far back, 400 units to be exact, and deals 150 Defiance Break, which is nice. Our fourth skill here is a very popular skill back in the day, which isn't too important anymore, but it's Windblown Speed. You and nearby allies gain swiftness while curing crippled, immobilized, and chilled. And this was very nice before mounts existed, because we gained some swiftness and we also gained some super speed at the start there, and it would basically allow us and also allow us to help other people move around the map much faster, where we can just use it and then get a nice burst of speed as we're traveling. Our last skill here is Static Field. Create an electrical field that stuns foes crossing it. So let's go ahead and throw it down on the ground there, and we're not really going to see it with the Squid Lobber, but it deals damage and it basically stuns our enemies, so it's like another crowd control, and it's also like an AoE damage field. And then lastly, we have Earth Attunement, which is another defensive attunement, where the Water Attunement was more on like the healing side of things. The Earth Attunement is more on like the protection, block damage side of things. So our auto attack here is just Stoning, hurl a rock, and weaken your foe. So it's like a fireball, but it's like an earth ball. And it'll apply weakness, which is nice. Our second skill here is Shake the Ground until it erupts and damages foes. So let's go ahead and throw this down on the ground. And basically, if you can keep the script inside of this field, it'll deal a ton of damage to it, and it will also apply bleeding and cripple. Then we have Magnetic Aura, reflects projectiles with magnetic energy. So we have this bottle over here, then we can throw it on us, and we saw the script threw a script bottle at us, and then we basically reflected it back at the script, and we dealt a nice amount of damage to the script, which is very nice. And this is kind of like a nice defensive ability to have just when you're getting attacked by a bunch of people. But our fourth skill here is Unsteady Ground. Create unsteady ground that foes cannot cross. So we can go ahead and try to find a script over here. I believe the Script Forger will attack us, so let's go ahead and hurl a rock at it, and then we can throw this down on the ground, and basically the script cannot go across it. We can see that whenever it tries to go across, except for once it ends, a big rock wall will come up and basically block the script's progress towards us and allow us to be on the other side safe and sound as long as it's up. And then our fifth skill here is Shockwave. Create a shockwave that bleeds and immobilizes your target. So big damage, applies bleeding for 20 seconds, and also immobilizes. So let's go ahead and use this on the script there. And it's a big animation, and it does a ton of damage. So Earth Attunement is actually like pretty good at dealing damage in like the core game here with this basic specialization that we have going on, but also has some very nice defensive options and some nice crowd control options here with like the unsteady ground. And then we can see similar things across all of our different weapons, and I'm not going to look at any of the other weapons right now, but instead I'm going to go ahead and look at a few of the different utility skills here. We're skipping down to the specializations. We have fire, air, earth, and water, and then we have a bonus one here called arcane, which is like the mastery of like all the elements together in one, basically. The description here says the elements are at my command. The arcane specialization focuses on switching between elemental attunements, utilizing various benefits when jumping to a new element. Arcane abilities and traits also offer several ways to gain boons and additional boon duration. And then with water, it's kind of like a healing supportive specialization. Earth is like a defensive. Air is kind of like a critical attack. And then fire is like some sustained damage. But we are not going to look at specializations right now. We can instead come up to the skills here. And then I'll go ahead and look at, I just leveled up. I'll go ahead and look at a conjure skill here. And then we'll look at a glyph skill. And then I won't look at any signets, but then we'll look at some cantrips. And then I think I'll pick a few of these actually really quickly. If I have the script, I'll go down into arcane, and then I'll go ahead and just go into the first two lines here, and then I'll go ahead and I wanted to get this last cantrip right here, but I think I'll just leave it unless we leveled up and we got, oh no, that's a level 19. But let's really quickly just go through a few of the different skills that I just unlocked, and then I might go ahead and hop into the chapter 1 of the personal story and complete that really quickly. But here we have Signet of Restoration, which is basically our default healing skill here, which grants health every time you cast a spell, and then we can activate it to heal ourselves. But if we come into here, we have learned all our different healing skills here. So we have Glyph of Elemental Harmony. So glyphs are an Elementalist special skill, where basically the glyph will do something different depending on what attunement we are in. So it's another like level of complexity for the Elementalist here, where when we use glyph skills, we want to consider what attunement we are in so we can get a specific thing from that glyph. So no matter what, we will heal ourselves, but if we're on fire, we'll gain might. If we are in water, we will gain regeneration. If we are in lightning, we'll gain swiftness. And if we are in earth, we'll gain protection. Coming over here to this cantrip, we will cure a condition, heal yourself with every pulse. So basic, but it has 8 pulses, which is fun. And then arcane, blast the area, hitting foes with critical damage and healing yourself. Healing effectiveness is increased per target hit. So this is kind of like a very fun, like deal a lot of damage and also heal yourself with this. So I'll go ahead and just use this, and you can see it just blasts the area. And then we weren't super low on health, but we would have gained a nice amount of health, 95 plus 20% more, so like 115 or whatever. But coming into our utility skills here, I'll go ahead and look at this arcane skill here, which is kind of like a very fun just deal a ton of damage ability, where we can use it and we'll just blast the squid here with a ton of arcane damage. And you see we chunked his health down, and then we'll use it on the Squid Forger. We hit it for 40% of its health. It's just a very kind of fun, instantly used, deals a ton of damage to your enemies, and this is probably one of my favorite skills to just level with an Elementalist. But coming up here, let's go ahead and look at Conjure Flame Axe. So this is kind of similar to the kits with the Engineer, but it's a little bit different, where we can then use this and then we can select somewhere on the ground to basically put it down, and we will get a version of it in our hand, and then we'll put one down on the ground, which we could pick up, or we could let one of our allies pick up to gain the skill. And if we come and hover over Conjure Flame attributes right here, we have 15 seconds to basically just look at all these different skills, which like I don't care too much, but we can basically just use them and deal a nice amount of damage. And the most popular conjure skill is the Fiery Greatsword, which has had a very interesting history when you look at it, where it used to be incredibly powerful, and then it got nerfed. And then historically, another very popular one was the arcane bow, or frostbow rather, which was absolutely broken back in the day, and it got nerfed and people really wanted it back, but it was absolutely broken back in the day. Let's go ahead and look at a few of the cantrips here. So we have Cleansing Fire, Cure Conditions, and Burn Foes, gain might for each condition removed. So we can go ahead and attack this Scritlobber here and then use this, and we deal a nice amount of damage, and it would also remove conditions from us, which is very nice. And then here we have Armor of Earth. Protect yourself with earthly armor and gain protection, add stability, then gain barrier for each unique boon you have. So it's kind of nice to be able to get some boons up on ourselves, and then so I'll come into here and I'll apply some boons there, and then we can use it and we get a bunch of stability and protection and barrier, which is very nice. And then lastly, the last skill that I learned here is Lightning Flash, which is similar to a bunch of other skills in the game. It's 900 range and it'll deal damage to people that we land on, but it is a teleport, so we can use it here and teleport all the way over here, and it's just very nice to be able to move around the world. But that is pretty much everything that I kind of want to explore with the Elementalist right now. To basically recap, we have 4 different attunements, which basically, depending on what attunement we have, our weapon skills are going to be different, and then some of our skills here are also going to be a little bit different as well. And each attunement has like a different focus, where fire is very good, like sustained damage for the most part. It's a little bit more convoluted than that, but water is kind of nice, supportive and healing. Lightning is good like crowd control, also good to give us swiftness and good for like critical strike damage. And then earth is good for like protection, blocking attacks, stuff like that. But now I'm going to go ahead and start working on my personal story, and I'm just going to blast through chapter 1 of the personal story because it's very similar to the one that we explored on our first character here with the Asuran engineer, our first Asuran character to be specific. And to recap, if you come into our story journal here, we can see what options I selected, and I selected the College of Statics. And really quickly, I kind of just want to mention that there are different colleges in Asuran society, similar to how there are like the different legions in Charged Society. And we talked a lot about colleges when we were on our Asura, but they play a little bit of an important role moving forward in the future, where each of them have some different pieces of knowledge that we are going to utilize in our adventures going forward in Guild Wars 2. And then here at the College of Statics, we're going to go ahead and do this whole story mission with Teo and Zoja, and then we have some unique characters here that we are basically going to be interacting with the College of Statics, but I'm mostly just going to skip past this part here.
Put your best prize-winning game face on. We're up next.
So far, it's all power couplings and energy matrices. Boring! Our device is clearly the best.
Grab the device and get ready. Kozak will back you up and assist during the demonstration.
So let's go ahead and retrieve the very old energy detector. So this is a different piece of technology compared to what we did when we were on Synergetics.
Hello again. I was just admiring your entry. Helping me smash inquest columns not enough for you, eh? I like an ambitious inventor.
Thanks, but you haven't seen anything yet. My crew's demonstration is going to blow you and the other judges away.
Ambitious and confident. Generally, you statics types are too conservative and deliberate for my taste, but I think you've got a real shot at this year's SNAF prize.
We're up, apprentice. If you can tear yourself away from the founder of this event, the other judges are waiting. We got a presentation to make.
Better get moving. On behalf of the judges panel, and in memory of my beloved mentor Snaf, we're standing by to be blown away. Good luck.
Yes, Tail. Your floating Grizz world is very impressive.
Keep dreaming, dimwit. Today is not your day. In fact, you'll never win.
Teo and the floating Grisro, which is basically her invention, or probably stolen invention that she was demonstrating here. And then of course we know Teo is a problem. And now she's not. And we have a very fun mission here at the end of this chapter, where we are basically just breaking into this like lab here of a great Asuran engineer who's named Gad.
It's breaking the containment pods.
And then here we have a destroy matriarch that we need to fight. And now that I am done with chapter 1 of the Asuran personal story, I want to do chapter 2, and I'm not going to skip through all of it. I'm probably going to skip like the middle parts because it's a little boring, but we're going to look a lot at the start and the end here. So let's go ahead and chat with Zosha and see what's going on with the Infinity Ball, which is what we selected.
I'm glad you came. I was messing around in my lab. Conducting open-ended research, and I ran across your Infinity Ball.
Ah, yes, my first invention ever. Still proud of it. Designed to show you a glimpse of the future. Well, a potential future anyway. It functioned well enough to earn a spot in the archives, but it wasn't as reliable as I'd hoped. The feasibility stabilizer was unpredictable.
Still, I like it. What would you say if I told you I could repurpose it into something useful?
Take your best shot. I'd love to see your modifications. And thanks for the heads up. As always, your professional courtesy is impeccable.
Excuse me, Zoja. You've talked so highly of the Snaf Savant, I couldn't pass up this chance for an introduction.
Of course. Shad, meet the Snaf Savant. Savant, meet Shad. He's trouble, so don't let him drag you down to his level. You two play nice now. I've got work to do.
So now we can speak with Shad and see what he has to say here. Here he says, don't get me wrong, Zoja's a genius and all, but she's too cautious. You can follow her lead, but don't let her timidity and trepidation prevent you from achieving your dreams. Zoja, timid? That's crazy talk. Zoja's opinion is one of the most valuable and rad assume. Doesn't mean she's always right. Your invention is a winner, or it could be with just a little more work. Why let her do it? Any accolades from the Infinity Ball should be yours. What accolades? The Infinity Ball doesn't work. Remember, it didn't work. That's my point. Maybe Zosha can make it work, but so can you, especially if I help. You just need to stop thinking like a crew menial and start thinking like a genius. Take charge. I'd like to finish what I started. Okay, I'm listening. What did you have in mind? I've conducted a cursory review of your designs, and I think the problem is all in the power input to output ratio. What you need is a high yield power supply. Yes, that would make a difference, but where would we find one that works? I think was the ending there. Head over to the Luminates plant. I know the crew chief on their Megahedron Collider project. I'll send word ahead and set up a trial. Tell him I sent you, and you'll have a full run of the place. So let's go ahead and do just that. So we have some protesters here. So let's go ahead and avoid them.
Madness. If you activate this thing, it could end all life as we know it.
Are you really this naive? Or did some other crew put you up to this?
We won't let you get away with this. We will not let you murder Mother Tyria.
Mother Tyria's not in danger. But you will be if you don't let me get back to work.
Are you in charge? I'm here to apply the Megahedron Collider to an invention of mine. Shad sent me.
You picked a bad time, but I owe Shad a favor. I had to pull a few strings, but the Collider is all yours. Hope you don't mind a little noise.
Yeah, I saw the protesters. They looked upset. Why are they picketing you?
They hate me. We blew this place up too many times already, and now they fear that when we turn the Collider on, it'll start a chain reaction and end all life on Tyria.
Will it?
Doubtful. It hasn't so far, but hey, maybe today's the day. Most of my crew took the day off, and the protesters want a disaster. Let's roll the dice.
So we can connect the Infinity Ball to the Megahedron Collider.
You were born, but you didn't listen. Now we're all gonna die.
Ha, one less dirt hugger. Don't look so nervous. I can handle this. Uh-oh. Something's coming through the portal, and it doesn't seem happy. Tell you what, you kill whatever sticks its head out while I shut down the portal.
So something's about to come through the portal, and we can go ahead and defeat the strange creatures, which are steam minotaurs, which we've explored before. We've explored them in Lorna's Pass, and then we also explored them at another Asuran lab, so it's kind of a coincidence that there are two Asuran labs where there are steam minotaurs coming through portals.
Well, I can't say that was completely unexpected. No worries, I'm here to help.
And then we can go ahead and just clean them all up.
Whoa. For a second there, I thought that might have been the big one. Goodbye, cruel world.
Did you see those things that came out of the portal? Machines like that just don't exist. Anyway, thanks for your help. Now I owe you one. Keep up the good work. That was unbelievable, unprecedented. We made history and saw the future all at once.
Empirically, it shows an alternate version of reality, not the future. And based on those mechanical monstrosities, a reality we're better off without.
Details. You should be excited. The Collider supercharged your Infinity Ball. Now it works on an entirely different level.
We need to test this somewhere remote. far from Radasum, with all its spying ears and innocent bystanders.
I have an old lab that I don't use anymore. It would be perfect. You have to do this, Savant. Greatness is within your grasp.
I do want to see this through. And if no one else gets hurt... Alright, I'll meet you there and we'll run more tests.
Hey, how did the Collider test go?
So we have Shad here who says, hey, how did the Collider test go? And he was over at the Collider with us, and now he's asking how it's going, which is a little interesting.
Welcome to the threshold of immortality. The lab is prepped and ready to go. The proving ground is entirely empty. No one to get hurt, no one to steal our glory.
Sounds good. I'm eager to see what the Infinity Ball can do in a more controlled environment.
Then you've come to the right place. We'll shake up the world. Soldier, the Arcane Council, everybody. Let's get started. The area's clear, the Infinity Ball is primed. Let's see what we can see. It's working! A portal's opening. Come on, baby, show us the future!
So we have a ton of destroyer trolls.
Tiny destroyers? Well, I'm not taking any chances. Another portal's opening. Get ready!
And then we have another portal opening here, so we'll go ahead and see what comes out of this one as well.
Flying destroyers? That's not even fair!
So a destroyer harpy, which we kind of know of in our own reality. And destroyers are immune to burning, so using the fire skills here is a little bit more rough because we don't have the burning damage to help us. And another destroyer.
There's no denying we got results. But if that's the future, I don't want to live there.
It was a future, not the future. In terms of quantum arcanics, we assessed other potentialities, but the connection was extremely unstable. The Infinity Ball needs more power. Otherwise, those portals will remain short-term doorways with no way to regulate outbound traffic.
I agree. More power will anchor and strengthen the portals. But this test just drained all the energy we got from the Megahedron Collider.
What we need is an entirely new power storage system. One that can store all the energy we need without requiring a recharge.
An entirely achievable goal. Let me clean up here, and then I'll meet you at your lab to review the data and plan our next move. Before you start spitting fire, soldier, calm down.
You did what? I told you once the Infinity Ball is way too dangerous, and you two idiots have been toying with it?
3 idiots. You're working on the Infinity Ball, same as us, and the Savant has a much better claim than you.
My device predicts danger, whereas yours creates it. This is your last warning. Stop this before you kill yourselves or others.
I thought she'd be angrier. Anyway, I can think of 2 potential power sources. The Inquest has one, Counselor Flax has the other.
Come on, Shad. Zosia's already furious. We can't antagonize the Inquest and the Arcane Council, too. I want this as much as you do, but Zosia...
If you quit now, you'll both be disappointed. She doesn't want you to end up like her, stuck in her mentor's shadow her whole life.
She's not necessarily stuck. Zosia's done great things on her own. But you're right about me. If I don't finish this, I'll always wonder. Let's talk power sources.
So I think we could go defeat some Inquest and steal a power source from them.
Stay away from that. Somebody stop them. Hello, guards. Now would be a good time to rally round your leader.
And now with the new power source, we can go ahead and begin the final mission in this chapter, which is one of the most iconic in Guild Wars 2's personal story.
To the heights of intellectual achievement. I know this hasn't been easy for you, what with all your ethics and whatnot, but I just wanted to say how impressed I am, how much this means to me. Progress demands risk and sacrifice, but it's worth it. Now, let's see what the world could be.
So, with the new power source, let's go ahead and activate the Infinity Ball.
Stop right there! Do not activate the Infinity Ball.
Too late, Soja. The process is already started. You can't stop progress.
Listen, my Danger Scope 5000 went critical when I tuned in, you idiots. You're going to kill us all.
No, I'll live forever as a genius. Now shut up and enjoy a glimpse of another reality.
Hello, Zoja. Recognize me? I'm the one you tried to bully into subservience and mediocrity. But I left you behind and achieved greatness. I am the Grand High Sovereign of my reality.
Whatever you call yourself, you don't belong here, and you can't stay.
To become all that I am capable of becoming, you must die. It's my destiny, and my pleasure. Wait until you get to know my creations. They conquered Tyria in my reality. You don't stand a chance. In your world, this technology hasn't even been invented yet. It's time we took the field, Grand Vice Admiral Shad. Just like the Battle of Divinity's Reach.
Sovereign, eh? That does sound good. Hang on. What's my role in this brand new reality?
So we have a ton of steam minotaurs attacking us right here, and we had two mysterious strangers, which is Shad and ourselves, came through the portal, and basically based off their entire dialogue that we just saw, they conquered their version of Tyria, and they're basically here trying to kill Zoja. So let's go ahead and defeat their creations here of the steam creatures that are coming through here, and then we can go ahead and defeat this mysterious stranger ourselves, as well as Grand Vice Admiral Shad as well. So a very fun kind of like version of Tyria that we could see potentially in the future, but of course we now have the opportunity to defeat these two, and we can go ahead and save Zoja and ourselves here. So let's go ahead and defeat them.
Killing myself is not something I enjoy, but it is necessary.
You'll become Grand Vice Admiral of the Conclave. If you live through this fight, that is.
So Shad is almost dead there. And then we can go ahead and focus on the mysterious stranger.
I should have known. The only thing that can defeat me is me.
And then we can go ahead and finish ourselves off there. And then let's chat with our friends.
That was unsettling. I can't deny the notion of ruling the world is appealing, but not if I have to out-inquest the inquest to achieve it.
Just because your double went bad doesn't mean you will. You'll have me to guide you, and then I get to be Grand Vice Admiral.
Shut up, Shad. Forever. The Infinity Ball is a dead end. I'm going to gut it and keep the shell as a reminder of what a genius shouldn't do. I'm sorry, Zoja. Those things my double said about you holding me back. Not true. The way I see it now, you provide focus for my genius, not limitations.
That's good to hear. I'm willing to put this little imbroglio behind us, Grand High Sovereign. But I'll be keeping a closer eye on you from now on. If you turn into a dimension-traveling dictator from the future, I'll have to put you down like a rabid skelk. Don't worry. If we stick together, we can both achieve our full potential. In a good way, not in a crush the world beneath our hobnailed boots way.
Count me in. Since the ball is drained of power now, it's no longer a threat. And since I'm not listening to Shad anymore, neither am I. See you around.
So that's the end of this chapter of the Asuran personal story, which is a very fun chapter that I'm super happy that I got to share with everyone here in this Let's Play series. And then I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and call this episode good here. This took a long time to record everything because I played through a lot of the game, but it's condensed down for this episode. And I hope you all enjoyed it as well. And I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. Remember to drink some water, check your posture, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time in the world of Tyria. Goodbye.